everyone. Welcome to... There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Abnormal Investigations. It's good to see everyone tonight. We got a great show for you tonight. If you're abnormal, you would probably look at it as a great show. Another person may not look at it as so much of a great show. It may be a show that's not for everyone tonight. That's why I done a warning on the short that I put out today. Before we get started, guys, I need to say something. Someone has cloned my account. They have reached out to some of our guests, and they have tried to change dates, and they have sent viruses. Do not download anything that you see that comes from me. I will never ask you to download anything, okay? I'm not going to be sending you anything to download or anything, so do not download. Some people have got viruses. People are cloned my account. I've had people contact me all day today that this account has tried to contact them, and it has tried to get them to download an account, or it said they would be locked out of their account. That is not from us. Do not download it. It is a virus. Just so everybody knows, and pass it on to everybody also. Tonight, guys, we have a special guest joining us. Cubot is going to be coming into the chat tonight. She's a longtime listener, longtime subscriber, and she's going to be sharing some of her stories with us tonight. Now, what we're going to try to do tonight, guys, is we're going to let her tell her stories. I'm going to be here tonight. Randy Petticourt is going to be co-hosting tonight, guys. He is back, and he's going to be alongside Amanda is going to be co-hosting. Let's see. Jessie has decided to take the night off. She has some things that she needed to take care of, so it's going to be the three of us tonight, and we'll be asking her questions. Now, if you have any questions, please hold those until the end of the show. Moderators, if I miss any questions, please write them down and let me know. That way we can get most questions answered tonight. With that being said, I'm going to bring Randy on, and then I will bring Amanda on. I'm going to let Randy get ready to give me the thumbs up when he's ready to come on. And all right, we got a double thumbs up. That means he's extra ready. Welcome.
Check. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, Abnormal Investigations. I'm back.
We have just a little bit of a lag. It seems like you're a little behind, but other than that, you're good.
I apologize about that. I just got new internet, new equipment. I'm first time using it, so I apologize for that. It's late here. But it's going to be about, can you hear me okay? If you remember the last time, I was really choppy and everything. So am I coming in clear?
I can hear you well.
Okay. That is good.
All right. And welcome back, Randy. With that being said, I'm going to bring Amanda on. She's going to be in the live tonight. Hello, Amanda.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, we finally got it worked
Can you
out.
hear me, Mike?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Awesome.
Oh, well, Randy, I love your kitty.
Thank you. It's storming out, so some of them had to come in tonight.
It is hot outside today, and you're getting a lot of storms right now.
And my internet's still working. Amazing, isn't it?
That is. It's working.
I was using real technology, so that lightning strike did me a favor. AT&T's got some really good internet. If you're looking for dependable internet, check out AT&T. And no, I'm not getting paid for that. That's
all right. Amanda, are you ready for this tonight?
I'm so ready. Can I also give a shout out to my daughter? She's in the chat tonight. And also my sister Ariel is in the chat also tonight.
Absolutely.
Hi.
Awesome.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah. Hello, daughter and sister. Daughter and sister.
Ariel and Kinsey.
Ariel and Kinsey. Everybody tell Ariel and Kinsey welcome to the show. Tonight's going to be I think a pretty scary show tonight. But This should make a lot of people happy. Tomorrow night, yes, I will be boots on the ground at 8:45 p.m. So we're going to figure out something.
Hooray!
Yeah, we might be swimming, but we're going to be boots on the ground.
Bring your boat, Mike. Bring your boat.
I might have
Yeah.
to. All right, guys, without further ado, would everybody please welcome our special guest tonight? Cubot is going to be joining us. So everybody welcome Cubot. Can you hear me, Cubot?
I can hear you.
Oh, there you are. You're loud and clear. How are you tonight?
Doing good. I tried to put my little thing up there, but I don't see it. So don't you show me on live.
Nope. We cannot see anything but a black box.
Okay, that sounds good.
we got
Welcome,
the
Cubot.
yeah, we got the two anonymous people on the bottom, and then we got me and Randy on top. There we go.
Hello, Cubot.
There you go.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Cubot.
Thank you. It's good to be here. I just hope I don't let you down with my stories.
No, you're not going to let us down. We all just enjoy being here amongst friends anyways. So I guess what we'll do, Cubot, is I'm just going to let you have the floor, and I'll let you tell your stories, and then if we have any questions, we'll jump in and we'll ask you questions.
Okay, that works for me.
All right.
I'm going to start off just by telling you a few things that happen when you're in this business. And of course, we had the funeral business and the ambulance service when I was growing up. And it was not unusual if somebody downtown got stabbed on a Friday or Saturday night, and they would walk over to the funeral home with a knife still in them and ask my dad, could he take them to the hospital? This was normal in a little town. Another thing that you wouldn't know, and this happened in Georgia at the time. Back in the day, back in the 70s, I don't know if it still happens now, but if you were an inmate and you had to serve so many years in a prison, if you died before those years were up, they would bring a box for us to put that person in when they were embalmed. And once we put them in there, they would put a chain around it and locks, and they would lock them in the casket. And that way they were saying they were still locked up because they have not served their full time. That's crazy, but it's true. These are some of the things you would never know.
So would you all you would have to take them out of the box, I'm assuming, to do your work, to embalm them and everything. So whenever you all would embalm them and everything, would you place them back in the box and relock it? Or at that point, are they considered they're not locked up anymore?
Yeah, they would not come in locked up. We would bring them in. Then they would bring the box. And then when we got through embalming them, then we would put them in the box, and they would come in and put the chains around it and put locks on it.
Wow.
And that's a strange thing, and I don't know if they did that everywhere. I just know where I was, that's what they did. And like I say, that was in the 70s. I was still in school, but I remember them doing that, and I thought it was crazy then.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I mean, because it's not like they're gonna get up and go anywhere.
Right.
If they wanted to get up and go anywhere, they didn't. They would do it by some other means. But also, I met a serial killer in this business. He had murdered a man and his daughter, and we didn't know it was him at the time. He came in the next day wanting to view, and we told him that only the immediate family could view. And he said, thank you, and left. 3 days later, we realized he was the serial killer. And he had killed people all the way from New York, all the way down to Georgia. And kidnapped a news lady, and she was with him all this time because he wanted her to write his biography. Of course, once he went to court, they found him guilty, and they were taking him to prison, and they say he tried to escape, and they had to shoot him. So he never made it to prison, and his name is Paul John Knowles. I don't know if you've heard of him or not, but he was a serial killer. There was also murders. Man murdered his wife and abandoned house with a bunch of cats. Needless to say, we could have cats in the funeral business. I could never have a kitten. That is why they used to sit up with people in their homes back in the day when they would take bodies back home. People would set cats out of the casket. I don't want to go any further on it. I'm just saying that this woman, you couldn't tell who she was, and they finally figured out who she was and arrested her husband for murder.
So
my husband, yeah.
Oh, I was just so like, is it because the cats are quick to go after the deceased? Maybe better way of putting it.
Yeah.
Is that why?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I've heard that before.
Yes, and it is true. And sometimes when we had someone that had been dead a while, and we had to hang our heads out the hearse when we were coming home, and cats would sit behind our funeral home, and you know that awful scream that they make.
Right.
They would do that all night long, and I could not stand to hear that.
That is very interesting because cats are linked back to a lot of things, and it seems like a lot of things that they're linked to is spirits.
Yes.
Death.
Yes. And that is one holler that I can stand all kind of noises, but that hollering that they do is just awful.
So
let's see.
I guess the bodies, even until you all would get them, processed or cleaned up or embalmed, they would still have that odor, I guess, until you would do that. I would assume that you probably always have an odor where you all work, right?
Yes. Yeah, but it smelt of embalming fluid more than anything else. I have a breathing problem to this day because of smelling formaldehyde, embalming fluid, and living in it, because back then they didn't have all these safe things. You didn't wear all these safety things back then. You just went
Right.
in and did your thing, and that was it. Now my son, to this day, and he's in his 40s, but he can tell you just as good if it happened yesterday. They lived in the home too, and he was about 4 or 5, and he remembers getting up one night, hearing people in the living room talking, and he went in, and there were all these people sitting there, but some of them had places on their face, on their head, in their chest. They just didn't look right. And they told him that he didn't be up. He needed to go back to bed. And so he did. And he told me about it the next day. And he still talks about it to this day. And they were all dead. And they were all sitting in our living room talking amongst each other. That blew my son's mind.
You know, do you? That blows my mind. I mean, do you think, and Randy, your opinion too, and Amanda, jump in anytime y'all have a question or whatever. Do you think that the reason those places and hospitals have a higher, I guess, encounter rate of things like that is because maybe the people that have attachments to them when they pass away, that those attachments are still with the body and the attachment ends up in the home?
In my opinion, anytime that somebody dies where the spirit departs the body, there can be supernatural activity in that area.
I think we might have lost her. She'll be back. She has a little bit of. I think she was having some storms. I think maybe in her area also.
Can you still,
Yeah, I still hear
Mike?
you. Yeah, you're good.
Anthony? We've got thunder and lightning, and we've still got pretty good storms in my internet. I wouldn't be able to be on if I was on that old internet that I was on. So I'm pretty
Right.
impressed.
You know, it's a scary thought to think about, attachments being attached to the bodies and then you're bringing them in and then the attachment has nowhere else to go. I mean, it's not going to stay with the deceased body. So that, attachment is going to end up being where the body's at, I would guess, for a little while. And then when funeral homes are by attachments. I'm just going to say demons.
Yeah, okay. I'm just clarifying here.
yeah,
Well,
I think
they're going to go somewheres, so they're going to look for a host.
right. And what better place to look for a host than a place of sadness where people are sad, upset, and have openings, which is a funeral home, a lot of times a hospital.
And perhaps that's what
That's
they're
so true,
seeing.
Mike.
They're seeing demons that were stuck in that hospital after their host died, and now they're trying to find another host to attach to.
Right.
Perhaps.
And what did you think, Amanda?
Can you hear me, Mike?
Yep, loud and clear.
Okay, just making sure because my earphones stopped working again, and so I can't hear you guys. But so
Oh no!
I can see you.
All right, you can't hear us right now.
I can hear you, but I have to have my phone like right up to my face.
Okay,
But it's okay. It doesn't matter.
Okay. All right, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, it's pretty interesting about the cat thing because I love cats and I've always had a love for cats, and it makes sense because I remember when I was a kid, we had a cat that used to always like meow in this certain corner of the room, and that's where my grandma used to sit, and this was like before my grandma passed away, but she always used to sit there and she was really sick. And then after she passed away, the cat would still do the same thing in that same corner. It was really weird.
Wow. All right, Cubot, looks like you're back. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Cubot?
Everyone's having technical difficulties.
A lot of people today have had a lot of trouble.
I know. It's odd. We don't have any storms here. I live in Cali.
Cali?
Well, this passed on networks too, so that might be something else happening.
It sounds like I can hear maybe her background noise, maybe, but I don't hear her.
Like I know my old internet cable kept getting cut. The fiber optic cable kept getting cut. Nobody could give me a reason on why it was getting cut on a regular basis.
Oh.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
If you're not
Cubot,
having tonight, I went to visit my mom and they lost power. The power just went off before the storm ever hit. The power just went off. We stayed there about an hour and it never came back on.
oh wow.
And when my mom called the power company, there were over 2,200 people without power, and that was
Oh
before
no.
the good.
You know what we may have to do is, since Cubot's having so much trouble, I can call her on the telephone and lay it here, guys, so we can hear her. I mean, we're not seeing her anyways,
There we
so
go.
that may be easier for her. Cubot, if you can hear me, I'm going to be calling you on a number you probably haven't seen, so it will be me. And I'm going to go ahead and step out till I get her on the phone, guys, and I'll be right back. I'll let you and Randy kind of visit about what you think is going on with this case and how eerie that is that cats, kind of see us as a, that seems like a real quick dinner.
Well, when you think about it,
Alrighty.
when the spirit departs the body, all it is a meat sack. That's all it is. And the animals are going to eat it. They're
Oh,
hungry.
that's so creepy. That's a creepy thought. Well, I've heard that though. I've heard that when, like, if you pass away, your pet or your cat will, if it doesn't have any food, of course, it will start to eat you. I have heard that before.
Start eating your face off first.
Lovely.
And that's documentaries that I've watched to get that information.
Oh my goodness, Randy, what documentaries are you watching?
YouTube about cats. When you
I
die,
love cats too.
I love
Yeah,
cats.
I love
And
cats.
the supernatural. Cats can see into the supernatural. That's why the Egypts worship cats.
Because they're awesome.
But if you study
What's your cat's name, Randy? What's your calico baby's name behind you?
this one is this is Patches.
Oh.
They call her Pretty Patches, but her name is Patches.
Oh,
the one in
she's
my
cute. I love how she just sits behind you in the chair.
And this one, this is Sammy.
Aw.
She attached to me at the
How many
hip.
cats do you have?
4 or 5. We got a bunch of outside
I
cats.
think,
We got 5 outside cats, but they're feral. People dump them off. We feed them. They kill cats
aw,
or they and stuff like that. In the country out here, the mice and rats out here are horrible. So the cats keep them down. So they
that's good.
kill
Yeah.
cats. They kill snakes, and snakes are bad out here. We've got
Yeah,
copperheads and
cats are so good at killing snakes.
At my mom's, they've got a lot of copperheads because there's the creek back behind her house, and they'll kill the copperhead and come up and lay it on the sidewalk so my mom can see it. So
Yep.
they leave souvenirs of their dead.
All right, guys. Can you hear me okay? And see if you can hear Cubot. I got her on the phone here, Cubot. Say hello to everybody, and we'll see if they can hear you.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right. We'll just do it this way.
Okay, good. So they can hear me.
We can hear you.
Okay. So let's see. What were we talking about?
We was talking about the cats at the back of your business making the noises.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. The next thing that I remember picking up a man that was shot one time, and I was sitting in the back of the hearse, and he exhaled, and it scared the bejesus out of me. Of course, I was young then, very young, probably about 13, and I really wasn't used to that. But I found out later that happens sometimes, because air gets trapped, and after a while it'll come out. Also, while I'm talking to you, I'm going to give you a bit of advice. If you ever see a car for sale, and it's real cheap, like haunted houses that wind up being real cheap,
Right.
don't buy it. If somebody has died in a vehicle and been in there any length of time, the smell seeps into the metal and you can't get it out ever. So on a hot day in the summer, like it is right now, you would really know it. So that's just a bit of advice from somebody that knows.
So you You started out being around this stuff at a pretty young age.
Oh yeah, 4, 3, 4, 5. And some of the things we did, some people may think it was foolish, but when you live around death every day of your life, you have to make light of things to keep your sanity. My brother one time put these kids kept coming in the back of his funeral home, and he has a crematory, and he didn't want them back there, and they kept riding their bicycles back there. So he came out one day with a friend of his. They were in the embalming room, and he put a sheet over his friend, and they went running out the back door, and he was saying, come back, I'm not through with you yet. And he scared those kids so bad that they climbed that hill, bicycle and all, and they never came back to that home. And that was, I know that was a terrible thing to do, but he couldn't get them to stop. But after that, they stopped. They thought he had a dead man running from them.
Good. My uncle was a he embalmed people and mortician, and I went to the funeral home one time where he worked, and I was going to play a joke on him, and I ran over and opened a casket and was going to hide in it, but whenever I opened it, it wasn't empty, so I ended up being the one that got scared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we used to play hide and go seek in the funeral home. I got locked in a casket one time, so I do not like closed-in places.
Right.
And I don't want to be buried. I don't want to be in a hole somewhere. But that's a whole other story. I think the worst thing that I can say out of the funeral business that you never forget is burning flesh. Never forget that smell. If you ever smell it, it don't matter how many times you smell it, it'll still make you sick.
Right.
I heard my name called. Sometimes I would go into chapel at night, maybe Anna, because I play, and I would hear my name called, and I would come out, go through, and go upstairs and ask my mom who called. Nobody called. Somebody called me, but I would do my name. And other times I would hear whispers. I would see orbs. There was times that I would go downstairs.
Mike, I can't hear anything.
I think he lost her. Or we lost Mike.
Okay. Can
We
you hear
lost
her?
both of them?
What about now?
I can hear Mike.
No. I can hear
Okay.
you, Mike.
Okay. She said that she could. You will never forget the smell of burning flesh. Let's do a test
Oh.
again. Cubot,
Yeah.
just say something. We'll see how well they can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Is she pretty? Can you hear her pretty good now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
All right. That they say they can hear you now. So yeah, I've smelt that smell, and it is a sickening smell.
Yes, it is. I told you about the auction house that I had, and a man, it had been a bar years before, and a man was shot and killed there, and he was still there. And I had a lady that bought it from me from Jamaica, and she finally did all these kind of things in there, said to get him out because she didn't want him scaring her people, because she was opening a place for elderly patients and like a nursing home. She didn't want him walking around scaring them. I saw him for a brief moment one day. I've seen people when I walk to the funeral home sometimes, and I would see him out the corner of my eye, and then I would turn and look, and they would be gone. I would see orbs up in the corners. You would know that was somebody or something.
Right.
I didn't have many friends that would spend the night with me because the casket room was right across from my bedroom. And I would hear noises coming from there sometimes. We had a casket from Mexico one time that the man was sent from Mexico to us. And it was purple and red. And I'd never seen anything like it. But I would hear noises. It was in the basement. And I told my dad, I hear noises in there. So I don't know what he did with it, but he got rid of it. And I'm glad he got rid of it, because there was something wrong with that casket.
So
we also lived in a haunted house. And every year at the same time, we would hear people running down the stairs, slamming the doors, and wouldn't know what in the world it was. And I finally started digging into the house's past. Found out that there was a buggy, a car and a buggy, and they took the girl up on the front porch, and she died on the front porch. And it was around October. And every year, we would hear that them coming down the stairs in October, running down the stairs and going out the front door. And that happened every year till we sold that house. And no, I didn't tell people that bought it.
right. So I'm going to ask you.
Didn't have to.
Right. I've always wondered, whenever you all would get a body, say somebody that had lived a dark life or a bad person,
yeah,
did it bring a different atmosphere to the
yeah.
Would you
almost I don't know how to explain it. It was like you were walking through something heavy when you were in there, as long as they were in there. And once they were gone, it was gone. But if it was, somebody that had really done some terrible things or whatever, those kind of things show up. And where some people probably wouldn't really feel it, people like us would feel it, because we're in there when everybody, all kind of different people are in there. And so there's different things that happen. There's been pictures they would bring to put on the casket, and it would sit there, and we would hear something at night when we go to locking up, and the picture would be in the casket under their hands.
Oh, wow.
And the hands were always folded, on top of each other. And how that picture got up under their hands, we never knew. And we would take it back out and put it back on top. And we would close the casket at night. Not, close it all the way, but close it just without clicking it,
Right. So, whenever you close a casket, they lock, right? Is there a key or?
To some there are. Some of them, they're just a little lever in there that shuts. The more expensive ones, yes, they have a key. And once you use that key and lock them, they don't unlock. But we have known them to unlock, even though they're not supposed to unlock.
Wow.
And
So
we don't know how that happens.
you know, my uncle told me some stories when he worked in a funeral home. I don't know if this happened to you, but he said they would have like a good person that would be in there, and then they would end up bringing in like a guy from the prison that was like really mean and into, you know, witchcraft and stuff. And he said the guy that was passed away, he wouldn't like do anything, but the other body would end up like being moved and like tormented. Like the other body would get like a leg would get pulled off the bed, or the arms would be moved. He says sometimes the head would be moved. There was knockings. He said like knocks inside of there, like 3 knocks or so. He said you would hear like something knocking.
Yeah. We'd hear knocking. We'd hear our name being called. We'd hear the piano play in the chapel on the organ, and we'd go out there and the organ would be off and everything would be still. And when we'd walk out, go back across the funeral home and go into our part of the house that we lived in, we would hear the piano again or the organ. And there was at times we just left it alone. I got something to drink here.
So did you ever have any of the people that you brought in, did anything ever take the form of them and ever like try to communicate with you guys, or did you see them like walking around in your house or anything?
We could, like I said, when seeing them standing there, I'd see them out of the corner of my eye standing there, and of course when I'd jerk and look back, it would be gone. But yes, we've seen them, and of course you could see through them, but you could see them. And sometimes you know it was a good person, and they would give you such a good feeling. You knew they were a good person, and you knew that they were giving you that feeling.
So
what I was telling you about too is my stepsister. She was taking a nap one day, and somebody knocked the fan over. It was a box fan on the floor, and she saw the pants legs, and she thought it was my dad. And they picked up the fan and left it there. And when she got up, she asked him, "What did he want?" When he came in, and he said, "I haven't been here all day." Well, he was the only man that could have been there, but he wasn't there that day. And she said she knew that it was that man that they had downstairs. He had come up there and knocked over that fan, and she would not take a nap anymore by herself. And that really scared her. My niece, she's seen thing. It was like an orb in the corner of the ceiling, and it would get bigger and bigger. And she took off out of her room and told her daddy she wasn't sleeping in there anymore. Of course, when he went in there, it was gone. But she went to another room. She never slept in that room again. And that room was my room before I was grown and married, because then my brother had that funeral home, and she was sleeping in my old room. So,
wow. So another question I guess I have then is, did you ever, when you was sleeping in your room and stuff, or anyone that stayed at your house when you lived in the funeral home, did you guys ever have like any experiences that people compare to the Hat Man or sleep paralysis?
no, believe it or not, never did.
Wow.
Now, I slept with a cross behind my bed, just in case.
Right.
There were things like vampires, and I would keep a cross at the head of my bed. Living in a funeral home, and you get to that certain age. Of course, I loved horror movies. I sat in the funeral home watching horror movies all the time.
Right.
So, I was weird anyway.
So, whenever you would have like the things going on inside, whenever you would, did it make a difference if you embalmed the bodies or before the bodies was embalmed? Did it make a difference how active it was? Like after you embalmed them, would they stop, or did it not matter as long as the body was there?
It didn't matter. That's why I knew it was spirit, because when we brought somebody in, within the hour we were embalming them. They never, we never set them out or put them in a cooler or anything like that. Sometimes we'd have 3 or 4. And I told you about my husband's first experience as an embalmer, and it scared him to death.
Absolutely, yeah.
Rigor mortis had set in. This man had committed suicide, and his hand was up over his head. And my husband was shaving him, because we shave and all that stuff, and bathe them and everything. And he was shaving him. And all of a sudden, rigor mortis started leaving the body, and his hand fell on my husband's arm. And when he did, my husband jumped back, went to hollering, and he had that straight razor, and he was just going with it.
Oh, man.
Of course, he realized then what it was, but it scared the daylights out of him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That would get me.
Scare me to death.
Yeah. That would be like, yeah, that would make me reconsider my job choice. My uncle said one night he was sitting in the office and he had 4 bodies or something to embalm. And the office he sat in had a big window that looked out to where they kept the bodies on the beds. And he said he had his back to it. He was doing his paperwork. And he said on the office door, whenever you shut it, it would lock to where the bodies were at. You couldn't get in from that way. You could only, open it from the office side. And he said he heard, and he said, I did not want to turn around. He said, I didn't. He said, but I turned around, and he said, the dude is standing at my office door in the gown that was supposed to be embalmed. And
oh my.
He walked over and opened the door, and the guy was still alive. Last I knew, they had pronounced him dead, but he wasn't dead.
Oh, thank goodness that's never happened to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really messed
That's
with him,
crazy.
Remember, they used to have coffins to where there was a
And I
secret
told
latch.
you about I guess I should tell them about the woman that we scared to death. My husband and I were upstairs at one of our funeral homes. We lived up there with our children. And we were playing hide and go seek on a Sunday. And there were 2 doors that you could open that went out to the hallway to the stairs that went down to the funeral home. And you got some elderly women in town. They're really nosy. And they want to see what's going on. And of course, we wasn't busy. We didn't have a body in the house. And she come up the stairs, and it's 2 flights of stairs, and then a landing, and then the doors. Well, my husband thought that it was our kids hiding out there. So he grabbed the door and slung it open and said, "Boom!" And when he did, that poor woman, she took off and rolled down both flights of stairs. And before he could get down the stairs, she was up with her cane out the door. And by the time he got to the front door, she was in her car taking off.
I would imagine.
We scared that woman. We probably scared 10 years off her life.
Wow.
Well, she knew better than to come up like that, She knew that's where we lived up there. She was coming up there to be nosy. And what happened to her was she got the daylight scared out of her.
I would imagine. You go into a funeral home, you don't expect, somebody to jump out and go, boo.
I swear. Yeah, true.
What is weird to me is people talk about, well, I don't know about that stuff, but whenever I worked in a town around here, there was an old hospital that had closed down,
Yeah.
and part of the police department's protocol was if something happened at that old hospital, they were not allowed to enter that hospital alone because officers had went in there and it still had the old wheelchairs and stuff, and they've had wheelchairs like roll across the hallway and hear babies crying in the nursery, and yeah, it was actually policy that they could not go in there alone because they said that there's so much sadness, in hospitals and funeral homes, and and there's some weird people, man. I know a person that wanted to be a funeral home person so bad that she drove a hearse to school. That was her car that she drove everywhere, and she would like dress real gothic, and she put a casket in the back of it, and then on the weekends they would fill it full of ice and beer in the casket, and that's what she would drive to the parties. I mean, it was just some people just really get into the darkness, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how y'all do it because, I mean, dealing, not only with just the bodies, but, the people that are sad that come to view the bodies. And there's a lot.
And the people that fight.
Oh, no.
Oh, families fight, throwing pot plants at each other in the funeral home. And you wouldn't believe the fights that families have. It's unreal. It happens all the time. It's like a movie. You would really see these people fight.
So I guess I have to ask you the question.
Sad.
It is sad, Amanda. That's a bad time to fight.
It's the worst time to fight.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Most people are fighting over things, stuff, greed. I've seen it.
Yeah, that makes it even worse.
When my grandmother died, my mom's mom.
I can't hear anybody but you.
Okay, yeah, Randy and Amanda said that's a really sad thing for people to fight during that time. And Randy said, most of the time they're fighting over things, possessions.
Uh-huh. And they were fighting over a flower. One lady asked, can I have this one because it was sent by the people at my work? And she said, you can have the damn thing, and threw it at her. I had to clean it up.
I'm gonna try something real quick to see if we can fix this to where she can hear. Shut this down real quick.
Oh, one thing to tell you too about my dad after he died.
Oh no. Okay, can everybody hear us right now?
Testing.
I can barely hear you, Mike.
I think we lost Mike.
I think we did too.
Wouldn't be the first time. At least we know he's not
Nope,
going to eat.
and it probably won't be the last.
At least it's not like on a live, like he leaves the audience hanging when he goes LinkedIn and he's surrounded by critters,
That's true.
Where he's surrounded by critters and all of a sudden it just goes blank and we lose him and it's like, what happened?
That's the worst, Randy. That's the worst.
Tune in next time. We'll find out if Mike survived the night.
Yeah, that's great. That's what happened the last live. That's what happened the last live he was on. His phone died.
Cool. Amanda, it's a pleasure to meet you're new to me, his new co-host. Welcome aboard. I'm back. I had equipment failure problems, internet issues. I got that fixed now, so I should be back. It's amazing. It hasn't flickered during these heavy thunderstorms, so I'm pretty impressed with this new internet.
I have really good internet, but I'm also in the middle of a city, so.
Well, you're lucky. We're in the middle of nowhere in the country. surrounded
Yeah,
by.
that makes the internet a little bit harder to keep reception.
This new internet that I'm using, it's like a cell phone, basically. It's using a cell phone tower, and it's working during
Oh,
heavy thunderstorms. The last internet I had a dish on my roof, and it wouldn't be working right now. I'd be off the air. So it's pretty good.
that is
Yes,
good. I miss thunderstorms. I live in Northern California, so we don't get much rain or thunderstorms here.
you anywhere near the fires burning there in California?
I think there's a few. There's always a few burning right now, but there's not any by me right this second that I know of. I don't know. My watch duty
saw
hasn't went off.
I saw the news earlier tonight, just before the show came on. There was fires breaking out in California. They were fighting. At least they got water now, to
Yeah.
fight them. That's a
Yeah,
plus.
we have water, but not for
Yeah.
long because it dries out so quick here.
Well, we just pray for rain for California in Jesus' name. Send the rain, Lord.
I know.
We're getting
I want it to rain. I love the rain. I love it so much, and we get so few days that it rains here. It's really bad.
I was in San Diego, California, back in the early 1990s, and I can remember the rain in the spring, and it was beautiful there. It would rain. And it would rain for days, and just like it, in just waves. Nothing bad. Just nice rain for days.
But I do want to tell you about that's my dad. My dad was killed
They're back.
by a person under the influence of drugs, and I had a policeman in that town that worked for my dad, and he quit the funeral home after my dad died because he said he kept seeing him walking every morning. He would see my dad walk down the hallway because my dad always went up front, unlocked the front door, and grabbed all the trash cans, the trash, and would come down the hallway. And he said, I saw your daddy one too many times coming down that hallway. And he said, I couldn't work there anymore. Well, my stepmother wound up selling that funeral home and the name to people in the same town to another funeral home. And they tore it down and built a restaurant there. And I asked one day, and they said they still here. And they seen an older man with gray hair. And you could see through it. And I know it's my dad. And another thing that happened is 2 weeks after he passed, I told my daddy everything. I was his baby. And I broke my foot. And I told him, I said, I can't even tell you I broke my foot. Very next morning at 6 o'clock in the morning, my phone started ringing. And I picked up and looked at it. And the number on it was all zeros. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And it was all static. And then it went dead. And I said, my dad's let me know he knew I broke my foot. I have never gotten a phone call like that before or since. So there's things that go on.
It's like whenever you lose people, you still have like reminiscences of them still around, you think?
Yeah. I think, it says to be absent of the body is to be with Christ. Well, that's true, but Christ is everywhere.
Right.
And what's to say Christ don't let them comfort you right after? I don't believe my dad's spirit is here. He's with God. I know that.
Right.
But I still feel like God lets them comfort us at that time.
That was kind of like what I was going to get in, kind of say too. And Randy, you know a lot about the scripture, and I know Randy will have an input after I get done here. My thoughts are that like what you said, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And I do believe that the Lord does send us people to comfort us in hard times and to give us, reassurance. But also, I think what we have to be careful of is the malevolent spirits, the demons that come and they try to deceive us in our time of sadness, and they try to take the form of our loved ones to gain that trust, to deceive us, to, because they want us to talk to them. They want us to give them place. They want that worship, that, because they're very narcissistic. They love to be talked about, and they try to use our weaknesses against us, and Randy, I'll go to you on that, and then Amanda, I want your opinion. And I don't think Cubot can hear you guys, but I'll do my best to fill her in.
There's like some static or some delay here. You're gonna have to repeat what you were asking me. I couldn't hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Do you believe that what we're seeing that represents the people that have passed is demons trying to deceive us into giving them place or acknowledgement?
Are you
There's
asking
definitely
me that?
I was asking Randy.
Oh, okay.
Whoop.
I don't believe they're human spirits, according to Scripture, to be absent of the body, to be present with the Lord. Now, if they're a half human and half, say, fish or half something else, I don't know. They don't go to heaven, and they don't go to hell. They, just like the demons, when they die, their spirit lingers here. Would that be considered a demon spirit when, like, a werewolf
It says on
dies?
the thing that I'm backstage.
It shows you backstage still.
Yeah.
We can see if it'll work. We can try it. Let me see if I can bring you on,
Okay.
if you can hear us. Let me see here. We're going to try this again, guys. There's Cubot. Add to stage. Can you hear us on there now, Cubot?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you on the computer. Can you all hear Cubot?
I can hear her. Can she hear me?
Can you hear me on the computer?
Can you hear her on the computer? Let me
Yes,
silence.
I can on the computer. Well, can you hear her?
Okay,
You can hear
Cubot.
I can hear.
Now say something.
Yes.
Hello.
Oh wait, hold on. It didn't turn her all the way down. For some reason, I don't. Our equipment is weird tonight, guys. Okay, now Cubot, say something. That is so weird. Say something now, Cubot.
Yeah, I can't hear her now.
Yeah, for some reason she's not coming across on the computer. Okay.
And it says on there, I'm in the show. Everyone can see and hear you.
That is so
On
weird.
their line.
That is so.
Hello.
No. Hey, guys, it's not a coincidence you're having equipment problems. Given the topic they're talking about, it's supernatural. You're dealing with supernatural stuff here. If you go talking about it, they're going to show up and screw with you. I mean, look at the paranormal investigators equipment have failed. When they're out,
Right.
you've watched Skinwalkers
That's
Ranch.
true, Randy. I didn't think about that.
Have a lot of, batteries drained in their computers.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to work on the computer. We'll have to continue to do the phone.
Yeah.
Man,
But this is things that they've experienced. If you watch that Skinwalker.
Well, that's pretty much all I've got tonight.
Man, what you experienced is a whole lot. Since we're having so much trouble, Cubot, what I'll do, she said that's pretty much all she had really tonight, guys, is instead of running you crazy, Cubot, I'm going to let you run so we don't drive you nuts, and then we're going to talk about some of the things that you spoke about and kind of conversate. But thank you so much for your time, and I'm sorry that the internet is so crazy.
Hey, I think it's other people out there doing something to us, though.
Yeah,
But that's all right. They didn't win. We still went through anyway.
that's right. Well, thank you so much for showing up.
Well, I enjoyed it.
Cubot, you did great.
And y'all have a good night.
All right. Good night. Thank you.
You too, Cubot.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Randy, Amanda, are y'all ready for a round table on that?
Sure.
Yes.
Come on, Amanda. We're going to put you on the spot tonight. You're going to have to talk.
Oh, goody. Oh, goody.
Oh.
So, what was some of the things
Cubot's
that you...
still in the live.
Okay, let me see if I can get her. You know, I want to tell y'all something really weird that happened, and you're not going to believe this. My laptop shut down, my iPad shut down, and my phone was muting her on its own. I even switched my headset from my cell phone, which is right here that I'm using as a camera. I switched it to my laptop right here, and then the laptop shut down. So
Something didn't want us talking, or didn't want her talking.
definitely was really weird.
What I said was spot on. If any of y'all watch the Skinwalker Ranch show, they have equipment failure all the time, from cameras to heavy equipment.
Yep,
when you were
Randy, I love the Skinwalker Ranch.
When you are talking about this stuff, they show up. There's some Native Americans I've met just in local stores around here, and we get to talking. I start sharing my werewolf encounters, and they start sharing some of their encounters. Because the first thing I'll tell them is, you know, Uncle Sam lied to us. The public schools lied to us. Even religion to a degree. They told us all the monsters were wiped out in the flood. They didn't tell us that Satan figured out how to bring them back. And right now, the religious community, the Christian community, we're waging a war against the majority of Christians don't believe in the supernatural, in werewolves and vampires and other Nephilim beings. But if you look in the Bible, before it was changed and rewritten to hide, the King James Version was written, they took everything with, the king didn't want the people falling back and worshiping the angels again. So he took all that out of the King James Version. So the Bible that we have today, if you're reading the King James Version, is watered down to the degree that we're left where we're not able to fight the spiritual battle that we're in today. But God is still with us. And he's not going to let the enemy defeat us. Through God, through Christ, all things are possible. Never forget that the Lord, if you've accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, the Lord is with you. Never be afraid of anything that comes at you. That's why all the encounters I've had with werewolves, I'm still here, because I know the Lord's with me, and these creatures aren't allowed to harm me. Out of all the encounters, in over 20 years, I've had encounters with these things. For the longest time, I could never remember these encounters until after I started watching this particular show. I was on a live conference call with Mike one night, and a creature stood up. There's a 20-foot tree behind me, and this so-called coyote stood up to about the 15-foot mark on a live conference call with Mike. You remember that call, Mike?
Yeah, we had another person on the show with us too that seen it live, that was co-hosting, and they were amazed at the size of the creature that stood up, in front of Randy, and it just stepped out of the field pretty much. And I'm going to put Amanda on the spot real quick. I'm good at that, Amanda.
I know.
We're going to get her a feed, though.
I'm going to give her an easy one, though. So, Amanda, do you think that these werewolves, vampires, and everything, do you believe that they are out to hurt us, or do you believe they're all evil, or what is your thoughts on them?
I believe that the werewolves and dogmen and the scary stuff is definitely demonic, but I am on the fence about Bigfoot. I think there are mean ones, of course, like any person, because I think they're a person. I don't think they're a creature or an animal. I think they are a human, some sort of human hybrid. But with the werewolves and stuff, yes, I definitely think they're demonic, and they definitely are out to hurt us.
You know, what Amanda's saying is a big discussion right now in the community. Is a lot of people have decided, you know, that the werewolves, the dogmen, and the other cryptids are evil, but there's that, you know, that small percentage of people that believe that the Bigfoot is something different, that he's not demonic. Or there's one thing, Amanda, that sticks to my mind that makes me think Bigfoots are evil. And but I think they're a smarter evil. I think that they are more of, I know that if I hurt her and they know that I done it, they're going to hunt me down and they're going to do away with me. And you know, and here's a big talking point too, that if these creatures, and they are, let's in fact say that they are Nephilim, and we know that Jesus said that they will not be forgiven, and neither will their offspring, that they are abominations. But if they had enough knowledge to ask Enoch to go ask if they could be forgiven, would some of them not still have in their hearts and in their minds, you think, Randy, that maybe they could do enough good, which we know we can't do enough good, but do you think that they could do enough good that maybe they thought they have a chance?
Have you listened or read the book of Enoch? The Lord was very clear. No, there is
Right.
no way, no redemption for them creatures. The Lord made that very clear.
Right.
For what
But
they did to creation. They were killing and eating humans.
right.
And God said, no, there will be no redemption for you, or your kin, or your children. No redemption for you. The Lord was very clear on that.
But do you believe that the beasts think that if they're good enough, they might have a chance to, like, you know, maybe if I'm not mean, just maybe?
From what I've witnessed on these things, they're like a vampire. I know the werewolves and vampires are linked like a higher intelligence, like the Borg on Star Trek. Multiple times I've witnessed werewolves. I've caught them sleeping, and when they woke up, all of them, from 2 up to 12, I've seen as many 12. I've walked up on 12 of them sleeping. And when they all moved together at the exact same time, like they were linked with a consciousness. They know there's no redemption for them. My opinion, based on my observations of having encounters with these creatures for over 20 years. If they get the option, they will kill and eat you. No doubt about it.
And
at least the werewolf.
And I'm pretty sweet too, so I would be really in big danger.
Me too.
I've looked into their eyes. It's shark. They're a lot more intelligent than a shark.
Right.
They're a super apex predator. If they were normal
Randy
animals,
wasn't here for the werewolf one, or the one we thought that was the dog man through the doggy door.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a crazy one.
Yeah, poking the head through the door.
Yeah, that shows so much intelligence right there.
Yeah, they are. They're like an evil little child. They have an evil sense of humor. I've experienced it firsthand. They have a sense of humor. It may not be funny to you, but if they scare the shit out of you, they'll laugh at you. Right. I kid you not. They've come up to my air conditioner and like laughed at me, and I jumped out of my chair, and then I would hear them snickering outside my window. They'd be laughing because they scared the crap out of me. They have a sense of humor. They're highly intelligent. They're not just an animal. If they were an animal, right now, Mike, you would have tracked them down to their lair. You could have gotten poop from them. You would know their mating cycles. you'd be able to find data on them. And you can't with these creatures. Why is that? Because based on the data, they're not a normal animal. Or you would have more data on these creatures by now as long as you've been chasing them.
Oh yeah, yeah, and as long as they were around my grannies and spending a lifetime with them, they're so
Yeah.
much, they're so much more intelligent than what we can even imagine. Look at the one encounter we had. That it was really sad, and it bothered it bothered one of our co-hosts at the time, as to where when Bigfoot used a child's body as a puppet to try to get people out of the house. Remember that one?
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
that gives me the creeps.
Yeah. Yeah, Amanda, it was literally using a little boy. At first, they was hearing like a music box playing outside of their house,
Yeah.
and their little boy was, I guess, missing. Not their boy; it was another little boy, a neighbor boy. And they was hearing this music box, and then they start seeing this little boy's like head at the window, and then they seen it at the
Oh
front.
my.
Oh yeah, they seen it at the front door upside down, and then they
Oh
found the
my
little boy
gosh.
in a barn buried under the hay with his teddy bear and the music box ripped out of it. And whatever it was smart enough to use him as bait and the music box to try to lure the people out of the home. Luckily, they didn't go outside.
Wow. Yeah, see, they're so smart. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to think of Bigfoot as mean, but I definitely know there are stories of ones that have hurt people. So, but with dogmen, I think, or werewolves, dogmen, werewolves, I think that they definitely want to hurt us and that they love playing games. And I also think that we are all their entertainment. We are their entertainment, if you think about it, because we do some dumb stuff and we're loud and we're clumsy out in the woods.
And they're, I think we're always on the menu. I think that they're opportunists. You may go for a walk one day and you may hear one following you, and it may throw rocks at you and stuff. But if you twist your ankle and break your ankle down there in the middle of nowhere and the sun goes down,
Yeah,
there's
you're probably dead.
yeah, you're probably you're probably not coming home.
You're
And
probably dinner.
oh, have you ever had an encounter, Amanda?
With a Bigfoot.
Really?
Yeah. I told you on the first time when I came on that when I was 9, one looked into I lived with my great grandma in Wolf Creek, Oregon, and it was looking in the fifth wheel window, and it was like so close. I saw its face, like everything about it. And when it breathed, when it exhaled and its breath went on the window. Like, when somebody breathes on a window, that's how close it was. And I saw it face to face.
And that would prove that that's a living creature if it's got breath that will fog up a window.
Right.
I mean, that's
Yeah. It was super smart. It was just standing there.
a werewolf or a Bigfoot?
It was a Bigfoot.
Ah,
I also think, Brandy,
Yeah.
that they have intentions with women that they don't with men. I think women are at, a higher, like my mom. Whenever my mom was walking up the steps of my granny's house and she looked down and saw what she described as a werewolf looking at her, and all those years later, it still was fixated on her and it wanted her the most. It was worse when she was down there or when she went to the woods. It's like they get this crush on a female, or an imprint, or they imprint on a female, or however you want to look at it, and they look for that opportunity to act, right?
do you know
Yeah,
why
I
they
think they
target?
marked you.
Right. I agree.
Do you know why they target the women? In my opinion, it boils down to the seed
Because
war.
we're easy prey.
That, and they're trying to stop. There's a seed war between humans and their kind. They go after the woman. The woman can bear children, and the women are easier to kill. It's a
Yeah,
bloodline
that's what
war.
I was thinking, that we're just easier to kill, 100%. We're
They're trying to
smaller.
the human race, and they target women because women give birth to us. In
Right.
my opinion,
Yeah.
based on my
That makes
studies,
sense, Randy.
based
Yeah,
on
and
my
also,
studies, they're trying to exterminate the human race to take over the earth.
and if you have a young juvenile, and they exhibit any kind of traits like a human, we know from Scott Carpenter's DNA project that the unknown
Exactly.
father, known female, we know that they do have DNA from the mother of a human. So if they have that part of the human thinking, then maybe they are attracted to women, and they want to have offspring with a woman, and
Yeah.
hence, is that where the wild men and the feral people come from? Is from these things attacking women? And the movie Bone Tomahawk, it was actually, and I just found this out from Jesse had told me, it was based on true events from the Bigfoot War here in Oklahoma. That's what that movie was based on. And look what they did. They stole the women. They knocked their eyes out so they couldn't see. And they were mainly just used for breeding. They laid there and had babies. That was their job.
Yeah, our breeding stock. Yeah, and that's
Okay,
they
so I
weren't given
have
birth.
something I wanted to tell you guys earlier, but I didn't do it. So can I tell it now?
Sure.
It's just okay. So when we were talking about like deaths and stuff, so the apartment that me and my son live in right now, 3 months before we moved into this apartment, there was a couple that lived in this apartment, and the husband unalived his wife and then unalived himself in this apartment that in my room that I'm in right now. So, and I've heard some weird stuff, like sometimes the bathroom faucet will turn on and like the cupboards in the kitchen sometimes get shut. But other than that, I haven't had any, like, they haven't scared me or anything like that. And I saged my house when I moved in, of course. But, I just had to tell you guys that because I thought you guys would be like, what? You moved into there? But I did.
I'm going to give you something I want you to try, Amanda. I want you to try something.
Okay.
Try not to use the sage at all. Leave it alone. Sage, in my opinion, will sometimes even make it worse because it is considered ritualistic, ceremonial. Go
Oh.
and rebuke it in the name of Christ, and you will probably find that you won't have any more problems. I come from a Native American background. My great grandpa was full blood Native American. He believed in the old ways, but as I grew older, my family was introduced to Christ, and they learned that their ways were tradition before they had heard of Christ. And now that Christ has been introduced into our lives, and we, as our Lord and Savior, I seen a demon one time, Amanda, an actual demon. I told the story on here, and nothing would get rid of it until Christ was used, and never had another problem with it again.
I've seen stuff when I was little. Like, I used to see, like, apparitions in, like, different things. And sometimes it would scare me. But
We can barely hear
most
you.
of the... Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
You're okay. A
I was
little
just
bit.
saying that when I was younger...
There you are.
Can you hear me, Mike?
We did for a second.
Oh, okay. That's weird. I don't know. Can you hear me?
No.
Okay, I don't know what I did.
Something does not want us to talk. Yeah, it's like you were really loud for.
Doesn't, because I didn't do anything. I'm just holding my phone the same
Maybe
place
soon
I've
you
been holding it.
disconnect and come back.
Try walking out of that room and see if anything happens. I have a theory.
Out of my room?
Yeah.
What's your signal strength on? How many bars on her cell phone does she have there?
Hello? Can you hear me now?
Hear you a little better.
That's weird. And my bars are full bars.
Oh,
And I
there you
have
are.
80% battery.
There you are. I figured leaving that room would have something to do with it. You may have something in that room that's not wanting you to talk, where that actually happened.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're very clear now. So go ahead.
Question for you: was that the room where that incident happened at?
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
There you go.
Go.
There it is. Wow.
Yep. See, it doesn't want us to talk about it.
Still want to come to Oklahoma, Amanda?
Yes, I do. I want to come to Oklahoma and go boots on the ground 100%.
Have been. You'll
No,
probably never.
You know that's how he lost his last person he had with him, right? They got 8. So he didn't tell anybody.
The last co-host.
I'm just kidding.
That is
I'm
funny.
kidding.
No, Amanda, I lost my boots on the ground people. It was my sister and my daughter. We had an encounter, and they said, "We're done. We're done. We're done."
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Yep.
I want to have an encounter, but I am terrified of the dogman or werewolf. Like, that's one thing that I think will scare the poo
Hey,
out of
Mike.
me.
Did you
Right.
tell him that your daughter Kaylee was going with you until she had her encounter with the werewolf, and then she didn't want no more after that?
Yeah, she was going with us. I was doing a thing, Amanda. We was calling it daylight in, dark out. And what we would do is we would walk a couple of miles down a road when the sun was setting, wait till dark, and then try to make our way back to the vehicle. We was on our way back one night, and we heard something paralleling us that was following us. And Kaylee had walked to the side of the road and was looking at a large tree that was kind of up on a hill off of the road. And all of a sudden she just froze and kind of panicked and got really upset. And she was crying. And I shined my light up there and I look, and there's a bipedal creature standing there that had a head the size of a brown bear's with a long snout, and it's got its hands wrapped around the tree. And even though I'm going toward it with the flashlight, it is watching Kaylee without ever moving its eyes. It was so focused on her. So it took off and kind of followed us all the way down to the flooded culvert. And it was like whistling for Kaylee and making noises at her. And after that night, when we left, it jumped on the side of my vehicle and was looking in the side window at her. You could see its red eyes. And she was screaming in the floorboard. And after that, that was one of the nights that made her decide, I don't want to do this no more.
She's like, no
I
more.
think it either wanted to mate with her or eat her.
She was gone. She's like, nah, this ain't for me.
You guys
And I don't
bring the
blame her.
Scooby
I really
snacks
don't.
for the werewolf.
Yes. Yeah, that ended her career in cryptid searching.
Her cryptid career was over after that.
Her cryptid career was officially over. She got scared one night and didn't even see the creature on one of our hunts, and she took off running and almost ran right into it, like she was running at it.
Oh my!
And we were like, Kaylee, no, you're running right at it. And it looked more like it was trying to dodge her than her dodge it.
It was scared of her.
It was probably like, what in the hell is this girl doing? She's running right at me. She weighs like $105.
She scared the cryptid.
Yeah. She's gonna climb it like a spider monkey on Mountain Dew, I mean, but yeah, after that night,
That's hilarious. Poor girl, though. I'm sure she didn't think it was funny.
no, she was pretty upset. She's pretty upset.
I want to say hi to everybody in chat because I don't know how to be on my phone and write in the chat. So hi, everybody.
But yeah, Amanda, if you were to come to Oklahoma, I could guarantee you probably an encounter, but I could not guarantee you that it wouldn't be a werewolf or a dog man, or that we would come out of the woods. That's what I tell everybody.
I promise you, Amanda, you go hang out with him, you're going to have an encounter. I'm not kidding. Those things you show up,
Well,
they're
then
going to
I'm
come.
on my way. I'm just kidding. I'm on my way, Mike.
My wife can tell you that the one time I left her here at the house by herself, they were walking around the house taunting her. They
Oh
love
no, your poor wife.
yeah. You better be careful, and you better be sure that's what you want, because once you see it, you cannot unsee it, and you better be
Yeah.
ready. Because this thing, it can drive you nuts. There's people who see these things, and it drives them nuts.
They go crazy.
So you need to be sure that that's what you better be sure you can handle it. I mean, I'm just warning you.
I'm pretty sure I can handle it. I mean, I've seen Bigfoot, but he didn't look scary to me, but I really just want to experience stuff. And plus I just love being out in the woods, and I don't want to ever like see anything that's going to ruin my chances of being out in the woods. But at the same time, like, you can't like be afraid to do anything just because there could be something in the woods, you know?
Right.
As long as you believe in God, you've accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you have nothing to fear. Just remember, when these things, you confront these things, if you know who you are in Christ, they can't harm you. If you get into fear, they can eat you.
Yeah,
I have
with anything. Like fear will, they feed off fear. I believe they feed off fear.
Yeah,
Anything
right.
demonic feeds off fear for sure.
How many scriptures does it say "do not fear" in the Bible? How many times? A
So
bunch.
many.
I'm not as sure, but it's a lot. There's a lot of "do not fear." The reason for that is if fear, whatever you're in fear of, can kill you.
Yep.
I'll tell you all a story that really bothered me, and I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
I had a Bigfoot encounter, and I'm going to tell you right now that Bigfoot scared me more than any dog man or werewolf encounter I've had, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Whenever I was out, I've seen, Randy knows. Randy's got on to me a lot of times and told me to get my ass out of the woods and go home because I pushed too far. But I was pushing this Bigfoot, and while pushing the Bigfoot, I made it so angry that it was following me out of the woods, and I hadn't really done anything to it except for just followed it and tried to document it, right? And when I turned around and I saw this huge pecan tree, big pecan tree, and then I seen what was following me. I got a picture of it. I'll send it to you, Amanda. I have 2 pictures of it. I can send them to you.
Okay.
Sarah has them. It went down to its knees, which I believe was trying to hide from me, and it made the pecan tree look like a sapling. The size of this thing, it yelled at me like I've never had anything ever yell at me.
Did it rattle your insides?
Oh, it rattled my soul. And it was so big. It started beating on the tree with its hands, and it sounded like a hollow drum. If this thing, if it wanted to, I think a dog man or a werewolf, they're going to attack you like a dog. They're going to rip you and shred you.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm pretty sure the old saying, "I'm going to tear your leg off and beat you to death with it," came from a Bigfoot attacked somebody. Because
That may be true. Because they would tear your leg off and beat you to death with it.
Right. I mean, you if you was stuck out there and all you had was your fists or a knife, I mean, you got as much chance of beating one of them as
you aren't doing anything to it.
No, you're worse off in a one.
It's laughing at you. It's laughing at you, probably.
Oh yeah, you're worse off in a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. I mean, you ain't got a chance.
Exactly.
I mean, this thing.
It's like, what are you gonna do with that, dum-dum?
Oh, and I'm a firm believer. If you go back to the to the war in Oklahoma. What was it? The Navajo war down there they had with the Bigfoot. What was the reason they went after the Bigfoot? Two main reasons. They were stealing their children and eating them, and they were stealing their women.
And they were still in their women yet.
So if they're cannibalistic, I mean, they're kind of looking at us, what, a squirrel maybe to them, They're like, hey, look, dinner, I mean, these things are so massive. Okay, for instance, the other night, Amanda, I don't know if Randy was watching this, but this scared the hell out of me. And I've never, ever had this happen to me before. And I'm out there by myself, and I do wish I had somebody to go with me. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to have a partner, but not too many people want to go when you tell them you go down in the woods looking for a werewolf. It just kind of ruins the mood for everybody. They're like, nah, I don't really want to do that. But
they're like, no, thanks.
Yeah, no thanks. Because a lot of people around here, I would say 90% of the people that live in this area, they believe in it because they've experienced it, because we live in the middle of nowhere. And, so I was leaving this place the other night, and while I was leaving, something jumped on the back of the vehicle. And the only reason I know that or feel like something jumped on the back of the vehicle was because the back of the vehicle, like, how when something's heavy on the back, how it's like smashed down? Yes. I felt the back end of my car kind of smashed down. And I drove about 2 miles after that happened, and I parked at another spot that I was going to investigate. And whenever I parked there, I shined my light down the road, and I could see its red eyes running up the road chasing me. So somewhere in between that 2 miles, it had jumped or fell off of my vehicle, either one, and was
it's pissed at you.
Yeah, it was coming up the road. And if you'll look at the video I do on this, when I do the new intro, if you watch the actual video footage of the flashlights, that's me. And if you watch, you can see it's very defined, very big red eyes looking at me as I went across it.
Mike, it just wanted to ride out of the swamp.
Yeah. That was really. Would I love to camp that spot? Absolutely, but I mean, it would.
Can I say hi to Andrew? Andrew just had a comment up, and I love Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to camp that spot, but I'm not going to go down there.
I wouldn't.
No, because where I live, Amanda, you could scream all you wanted to, and there ain't nobody going to hear you. I mean, there's.
Oh, that's terrifying. But I love that, because you can just be as loud as you want.
Oh, there's nothing down here. I mean, you can go out there, and if something happens to you, there's nobody around. Nobody.
And if anybody hears you scream, do you think they're going to come and help you out here? No.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, no way. No way. I live on the 3rd floor of my apartments, and if I'm even too loud, my downstairs neighbor starts hitting the ceiling, or hitting my floor, but his ceiling. And I'm like, geez, I'm not even being loud.
These creatures will mimic an injured person, a female or a young child, to try to draw you out there. Mike has had many cases like that too, where they're hearing some child or like a baby crying off in the field or something. And if they go, they
that would get a woman for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we heard we had a really good baby cry one night, didn't we? It was very distinctive.
I've heard crazy. Your boots on the ground with cry. Some of them were they gave me chills. Some of those screams that you would record, some of those, especially the EVPs, some of them were just damn right scary, some of the crap that they were saying.
And I know it's getting bad whenever I look at my screen, whenever I do glance at it and I see Randy saying, Mike, get the hell out of there.
I've got like a 50+ inch screen up here, and some of these eyeballs, he's looking and there's like, he's looking at one level, and there's another level like 2 to 3 feet higher that I'm seeing another row of eyes that are much bigger than those damn creatures that he's looking at. That's like his eyes. There's like some bigger ones watching him, and he didn't see them.
Right. Yeah, I think Amanda's got onto me a few nights.
Mike doesn't listen well when he's out.
Yeah,
Mike doesn't listen well when we tell him to get out of there.
Yeah, I think I've seen Amanda tell me to get out of there a few times.
I did. I was like, time to go. Because I felt like bad energy. I swear. I felt it. And I was like, oh my God, you got to get out of there now. And then your phone died.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that's
was,
happened several times. You
yeah,
know,
that's
you can have. They've got these battery packs that can provide extra, like an hour or two of power for your cell phone.
yeah, mine.
Yeah.
Fit in your pocket.
I don't like them because I've already got so much stuff on me. I mean, I got, all the equipment, and I just, I'm the type of person, I don't like to be overweighted, because if I do have to run or have to dodge something,
Yeah, that's true.
I don't.
Mike, you're not going to outrun these things. If these things are hell bent on killing you, you're not going to outrun them.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't give a shit.
There's no way you're outrunning it.
That one story with the lady driving down the road at 65 miles an hour. Can you run 65 miles an hour on your 2 feet? You're not going to outrun these things. You get that out of your mind.
No, but I like to think I can when I'm scared.
If you run, all you're going to do is die tired. If you run, you become the prey.
And you're going to trip and fall.
Now, Amanda, is that
I
a fat joke?
I was worried, like, you get scared and run. You get scared and run, and then you trip, and then it's like game over.
Right.
And if and even if these things don't kill you, you're liable to do more damage to yourself by running into it.
Exactly. That's what would happen to me. I'm so clumsy. I'd just trip, and they'd be like, well, that was easy.
Look out for that tree.
Yeah, exactly. I'd smack right into it.
One night, or one evening, it was daylight. I walk out to see my horse. He's out there feeding. It's November. There's a cold wind blowing, and he's in the corner of the field where the tall grass is out as a windbreak. And there were 12 of these werewolf creatures in a circle sleeping as the horse is feeding.
Oh my!
And I'm standing right by the horse, surrounded by 12 of them, and they all get up and look at me at the same time. The exact same. Thank you, baby doll. Tonight, my
Time
wife,
to move.
she's helping me out on the
So
back.
I would say that I would take somebody with me, preferably that I could outrun. But right now, that's not.
You just push them down and run.
Right. That's not too many people right now.
He wants somebody he can outrun so they can get so he can get better reviews. If he gets somebody eating on the live show, you don't think that's not going to help him?
Be on the next.
One way to get your views up.
Be talking about on the next the next breakdown.
All right, so just be careful if you're out there with trip them.
If you use me as bait, at least make sure my channel gets up in views, okay?
It'd be like on the
his back foot and trip him, and then you take off running.
Be like man, on my next breakdown, it'll be like, guys, as you know, I took such and such with me on this boots on the ground, and I was able to film the first attack by one of these creatures, and I have never seen anybody folded up like Grandpa's lawn chair like that when it attacked them.
Oh, geez.
Make it tonight. I was the only one that made it back to the truck, and I'm not waiting.
For real.
We did an encounter, Amanda, of a guy that got his friend killed because they were out and his friend and them got scared. And his friend jumped in the back of his truck and was like, go, go, go. So the guy's like driving. Well, the guy driving doesn't believe the friend in the truck. So he stops in the middle of the dark and the guy's yelling, what are you doing? Go. And they're laughing at him. So then they start driving again. The back of the truck starts bouncing. And when they get to town, the dude that was in the back is gone. And they go back and they find him like shredded because they had stopped and let whatever it was catch up and jump in the back of the truck.
Wow.
So you can imagine.
Horrible.
Yeah.
I got to hear that one. Evidently, I've missed some stuff while I was gone.
Yeah, they actually stopped, Randy. The guy was screaming and beating on the back of the window, telling him to go, and they're laughing at him. They're going, "Oh, are you scared of the boogeyman?" And he's like, he's seen it.
No.
He knew what was coming. And they waited till the back of their truck started bouncing, and they took off, and they didn't notice till they got to town that the guy in the back wasn't in the back no more.
So what's the conclusion of that story? If you've got the wrong friends, they can kill you. Make sure you're not in the wrong.
Exactly. Be careful who you go out with.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Be careful who you ride with.
You know,
Don't kill, okay?
my date night consists of boots on the ground. That's about as much of a date night as I have. I might need a new
You know what?
I might be safer that way.
To bring your dates boots on the ground?
No, going boots on the ground. I haven't never took anybody boots on the ground. Actually, I never have, because a lot of the places I go to are sacred and they were passed down by the elders and stuff. And you have to make promises. I mean, Randy knows what I'm talking about. Around here, you make promises. You don't share information about that, and you don't take people there. I mean, if you're going to marry somebody, and you're that close to them, then that's fine. But as far as like dating down there and stuff like that, no. You'll lose the respect of your elders very fast. Yeah,
That makes sense.
Yeah, because then you get a bunch of people that go down there and want to trash it, and
that's true.
Just respect
I can't
it.
stand people that are trashy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places we've lost access to a lot of places that we used to go. We could look for paranormal or werewolves or whatever. A lot of those places that we used to go when we were kids, you can't. They've been closed down because of too much vandalism.
Right.
Or the place has been totally burned down. There used to be abandoned houses and stuff out in the country as we were kids that were haunted, but somebody burned those places down. And you can understand why you wouldn't want people on your land that they're going to trash it and destroy things. So I can understand that. People don't have respect themselves, let alone other people's stuff.
And plus, you don't want someone going on your property and getting murdered or getting something bad happen to them, and then it's like, what happened?
Right.
Then you have people on your land that you don't want there anyway.
I told them
you don't want cooking drugs on your property,
Right.
There's a lot of
true.
Yeah, now a lot of places where these people have found, they're down there and they're leaving like hypodermic needles and stuff laying around, and there's a lot of times when I go to them places, I like to take my shoes off because I like to wade, and it's sandy. But now you're like, too many
I love
idiots,
grounding myself.
Yes, yeah, that's very important. My mom talks a lot about that, grounding.
Yeah, I love grounding. I do it every day, at least once. It's so good for stress. And cats are good for stress too, Randy.
Andrew's Gnomes Trucking Express says it was nice knowing Amanda. Poor thing. I'll be like,
Andrew, I'm not dead yet. Jeez.
Be like, I took Amanda down there and I told her not to make bacon, but for some reason she started making BLTs, and the next thing I know, I heard a lot of screaming, and the screaming just kept getting further and further away really fast.
Mike,
I was making BLTs with avocado because it's the only way to make them.
Oh yeah, I love that. I get that at Brahms.
I got a few suggestions for you to increase your encounters on your boots on the ground.
Uh-huh.
Somebody wants you to fit raw meat, raw steaks, bloody. Meat. Hang that on you.
Bring raw meat.
That's going to increase your encounters with these werewolves.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea.
And dimmer lights. If you want closer encounters.
And that's whenever I stop. That's when I stop the film and I say, and everybody, I want to say a quick word from our sponsors. Today on Boots on the Ground, Amanda is wearing our new bacon-flavored perfume.
Bacon perfume with raw meat in her pockets.
With a bunch of sticks around it. And he says, whatever y'all do, don't try this at home.
Right. Yeah, it'd be like the Hunger.
Try this at home.
It'll be like the Hunger Games. Everybody take a bet of Amanda's chances of making it home.
Of making it out of the swamp.
Yeah, the bidding starts now. Yeah, I mean,
ever
Well, as
go?
long as I can bring my protection, I would feel a lot better. But if you just put me out there with nothing, I would be probably just a little snack for whatever.
Just bring your running shoes.
You're
But I
not.
already know they can run way faster than me.
That's the worst thing that you can teach anybody, Mike.
Just bring your running shoes.
When
Well,
you
I'm not-
run, you're becoming the prey. You think about
Right.
a large lion or tiger. If you run, you're the prey. What do you think
Right.
you are to a
Yeah.
werewolf if you take off running?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, because it has predator drive too.
I mean, you got to think about these things. They can
Well,
run probably 100 miles an hour. I'm guessing, but I hear
Oh yeah.
on these things. If they're wanting to catch you, I assure you they can.
Well, I was just thinking that if she took off running, it would chase her while I walked to the truck to go get help.
Thanks, Mike.
I mean, you got to stop running. You're going to end up falling and getting hurt. And if you get hurt out there, seriously hurt, you're going to get ate. You break a leg out there
Yep.
with these things, especially when they're surrounded sometimes. But the last time I saw you were boots on the ground, there were eyes everywhere on the wood lines. You had them all around you, and they were coming in close. If you fall and break your leg and get injured out there, you might get ate.
You're a goner.
One of the things, I'll tell you what scares me. And this is
You're a little midnight snack.
Oh,
you
yeah.
got a kid
one of my true fears, one of my true fears is.
We already talked about it, Mike.
Right. What if one grabs you, right? Say you're out boots on the ground. And yeah, that's right, Sharon. Sarah did keep the keys. And one grabs you and it takes you, right? There's two outcomes that are really scary to me. The first outcome is it doesn't unalive you immediately and it takes you all the way back to its lair where there's other ones and they just like shred you. And another thing that you worry about is what if they don't do it fast? I mean, what if they start eating you just random places?
Alive?
I mean, yeah.
They're gonna.
Yeah, that's terrifying. That's terrifying.
If these things kill you, they're gonna make it last. They're going to make you suffer as long as they can. They're going to terrify you as much as they can. They're going to eat as many parts as you without killing you as they can for the fear. It's just like Amanda said, these beasts feed off of fear. How many stories where they just ate the intestines up of somebody or they shredded them?
Right.
How about the two investigators that went down to New Orleans looking for what? Vampires? And their bodies were shredded?
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
You remember that, Mike?
Oh yeah.
These things, if they get a chance to kill you, they're going to make it last as long as they can, because that's what these things are. They're pure evil.
They are pure evil. That's for sure. Randy?
In my opinion, this is my opinion based on my observations of these things. Right. Now they've scared me because God doesn't allow them to scare me, because He protects me from these things. And part of the reason why I think I've had these encounters, the unsaved thinking after tribulations that they're going to have a big party, it's not going to be the humans partying after tribulations. It's going to be the werewolves and the Nephilim gorging themselves on human flesh of the unsaved. They're going to have a party eating humans. That's what they do. Look at the giants. If these things are kin to one another, they've got the same MO, in my opinion.
And the same DNA, the same daddy.
Exactly.
And probably the same taste.
And just like you're saying, when you're out there doing your boots on the ground, your audience gets to hear the EVPs that you can't hear. What is that? That's a supernatural realm. These things are super. I believe the werewolves, the Bigfoot, they're supernatural. They're not a normal animal. And that's going to make, if they're supernatural, that's going to bring in all the other supernatural stuff together. I think it's all linked some way, somehow. If you've got one, you can see the other.
And they, like we talked about before, the physical ones that we talked about having the breath, they are still the bloodline lineage of the Nephilim from the Elios, but then they are going to cause the demonic, the disembodied, to be there also, because they're all connected and they feed off of each other. So you're dealing with a physical being and a supernatural being at the same time. And that's where you better be very prayed up and have a hedge of a protection around you, because I mean, yeah, the physical things, they don't scare me as bad as the supernatural things, because the supernatural things, you don't always see them, you don't always know what they are, and to be honest, they want to ride home with you. They want to come home with you, and they want to prey on those people. I mean, like Randy could be very prayed up, but if Randy had a friend that didn't believe in God, and Randy came home and one of these, followed him home, they could attack Randy's friend and become attached to him because he doesn't have that protection. And that's scary to me. Like tomorrow night, guys, I will be boots on the ground. Randy and Amanda and everybody's probably going to be screaming at me to go home. Tomorrow night.
We will.
Get some common sense out there and not be stupid, or I'm not going to do this if you go doing stupid crap. I don't want to watch you get killed. You got a kid to take care of once you get them home.
Oh, yeah, and
so you need to be careful.
And we got to be careful.
I know you got to do your job. That's fine, but don't push the envelope like they got you smacked in the face that one time. Because I assure you, if these creatures ever hit you with their claws or paws or hand, they can unalive you with one swat of their claw.
They're knocking your head off.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So don't be careful out there.
Yeah, they could knock your head clean off you, guaranteed.
Do not taunt them.
And another thing I got to watch out for tomorrow night is our area is dangerously flooded, and I'm going to be moving in flooded areas. I've already fell off in the water one time and had to swim out of it. So, I mean, we got a lot of other dangers that we're going to have to watch out for tomorrow night.
I told you to bring your boat, Mike. You got to bring your boat and your scuba gear, and you'll be all good.
Yeah. Walk out there with water moccasins.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. Just wear your scuba gear. They won't be able to bite through. Just joking.
I come walking out, water moccasins hanging off of me.
My
And not only that, but you're in there with your scuba gear and you can't even move because it's so, it's not just regular water, it's swamp water.
Oh, yeah. It's so nasty.
Snakes couldn't bite underwater. And one time we're fishing at a river and he's wading out there and he comes back and he had a cottonmouth that had swallowed his big toe.
Wow.
He didn't believe that anymore after that day.
that would ruin your night. A day. I don't swim anymore in the water around here because there is so many people getting sick, and then we have that amoeba now. That everybody's getting in their brain, and
brain eating stuff. That stuff scares the crap out of me.
Me too. And they say they can't cure you from it.
No, they can't. You die. I mean, it eats your brain.
And you know how many times I used to love to go down to the lake and just go swimming?
Yeah, I used to love swimming in the lake too. I don't go swimming in the lake at all anymore either.
Yeah, last time me and my wife went swimming was back in 1999, and we both got sick. And then we waited 2 or 3 weeks later, and it was in the after the rains and stuff, and we went a couple weeks later after we got well, and we got sick again. And we haven't been back into the lakes out here since then.
Yeah, I mean,
that's been over 2 years ago.
There's a little girl, if everybody would keep her.
Andrew.
If everybody would keep her in your prayers. There's a little girl right now that's in critical condition that has E. coli in the hospital that's fighting for her life.
Oh, I had E. coli when I was little.
Yeah, I had salmonella. Man, that was terrible.
Maybe that's what I had. No, I had E. coli.
It was so terrible. But this little girl,
I was super sick. I was in the hospital.
Yeah, she's very sick too. She went in, I think they said January 6th, and they don't even see a date yet to even release her. So we'll keep her in our prayers.
Oh.
It's sad. Well, Randy, Amanda, that's all I got for tonight since I'm going to be boots on the ground tomorrow night. I got to get some rest, and I hope you all are able to come in and moderate and able to make it.
Yep.
Amanda, if you would like,
I'll
you
be
can.
there.
You better be there, or we're going to send a Bigfoot to your house.
I will.
If you
You'll
want,
have to get. He can't get in my building. You have to have a key fob.
I don't know. They can climb pretty good. He might climb up to your window.
He might actually be as tall as my window. Just kidding.
Before you go, have y'all heard about them talking about doing a reboot of the X-Files using the original Mulder and Scully? There's talk about them doing the X.
Oh, that's my favorite.
And Scully.
Me too. Oh my gosh, that is so exciting.
You know what happened to me? This pissed me off so bad. I had every series, every season, everything of the X-Files. I got a divorce, and guess what?
Your wife got him?
She took it with the dog.
The exact same thing happened to me, but it was with a boyfriend. I had every single season of the X-Files because he bought them for me, but when we split up, he took them all.
Oh,
and
man.
never.
You can stream them on Hulu for very little money. If you're an X-Files fan and you're looking for some place to stream them, Hulu has the X-Files. Just letting y'all know. I've been looking for a while, and I finally found them on Hulu. So if you're looking for the X-Files,
thank you, Randy.
I haven't heard of anything about the reboot on when, but there's talk about it. So hopefully we'll get some new X-Files. That'd be some really cool stuff.
That would be so cool. Then we could talk about the episodes.
Yeah. Go back. If you go back and watch them, they're talking about some of the crap that's actually happening today.
I know. I did go back and watch some of them, and I was like, hey, I heard about that. Hey, I've heard about this, but it just like recently. But then these things are so old.
Right, Amanda, watch X-Files Season 1, Episode 2. Mulder holds up a picture of a black triangle. That's exactly what flew over my head in 2009.
Wow. Okay. I will. I'll watch it. I've seen it, I'm sure, millions of times, but I'll go watch it again.
It looks like Mulder holds up a picture of one on Season 1, Episode 2. That's exactly what they look like. That's a picture of a real black field.
Like what Bohica said.
Yeah, the black triangle.
Predicted programming.
The black triangle is also in one of David Plaitis' Missing 411, the UFO Connection. It's in that movie too.
And they're also taught that the black triangles are U.S. Army. Because the one I saw...
Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
Right toward the military base. Not that that's proof of anything. I mean, that doesn't prove that it is. But I just thought it was a coincidence. Now, it's flying towards a military base. It was within 50 miles of a U.S. Army base, and yet there was no response.
Yeah, they would have shot it down. They would have shot it down if it wasn't something of theirs.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It wouldn't even have been able to get that close.
No.
This thing was just above the treetop level, about 50 foot, maybe just under the 50-foot mark, but it was just going right above the trees, very slowly.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll never forget that. And back then, there was a stereotype around UFOs. If you believed in UFOs, you were crazy. So I never talked about that because I worked for the Oklahoma Department of Labor as a state inspector, doing safety inspections and anything unlisted rented in anything unlisted rented by city, state, public schools, universities, rural, wide state prisons in 23 counties. So you didn't talk about, if you saw stuff like that, you kept your mouth shut.
Yeah, that's how it was back in the day. You couldn't say anything about anything.
No.
People would automatically call you crazy.
Especially if you live in California. I had to.
Or Oklahoma.
Us Okies down here. Okie from Muskogee.
Yeah, with your crazy.
It's good to be back,
Bigfoots.
guys.
Yes.
It's good to see you all.
We're going to try to find one tomorrow night. And Randy, it is great to have you back, man. The show has missed you. Everybody has missed you. You're a big part of Abnormal.
Great meeting you, Randy.
Yeah, Randy.
Guys, you're lucky to have me back early. It's because of prayer. I wasn't supposed to be back until July 8th, but God answered prayers. So here I am. Thank you, God. And I give God all praise and glory. Hallelujah.
Yeah, that's right. We're glad to have you, and glory to God. You're a big part of this, Randy. You've been with me from the beginning. You've been through, the hard times, the good times. You have stood beside me. You're a true friend, and I don't just call you friend. I call you brother, and I call very few that, man. I appreciate you very much.
When I got my problems fixed with my equipment and stuff, and it was just a nightmare.
Well, God is good, and we give Him the glory, right?
Amen to that, brother.
Someday I'll have a laptop or something so I can actually show my picture, but I have nothing to go on yet, so except for my little tiny phone.
I wasn't trying to hurt feelings. I was just trying to play a little bit, have some fun with you. Well, we're standing in faith that one day you'll have a laptop or a computer to where you can come in here and join us. In Jesus' name we pray.
Exactly.
That's right. And then maybe we can get her, on a boots on the ground, and she can go from foreign IA down here to Oklahoma and see what it's like to be in the middle of nothing.
She's got to have the car.
I've been in the middle of nothing, California, so I know what that's like. I mean, I'm sure Oklahoma's different, but
we don't even have
guys. Will you have?
I was just gonna say we don't even have 911 addresses here yet. If that tells you anything.
Can you call 911 at least?
Yeah, you can call them, but they're not going to find you.
They might not.
Oh, they're not going to find you.
Yeah.
Okay.
kind of like that movie. What was it? Real quick before I get off. Chainsaw Massacre. I'm the only sheriff in this town.
No. Or he's an evil backwoods guy.
Yeah. Tommy, even those legs up.
Rodney Dangerfield.
All right, guys.
All right, Amanda. I know you're wanting to run and everything. We've been on here a long time. Thank you, Amanda, for being on tonight. Hope you come on again.
Thanks for having me, guys. Good night, Randy and Mike, and everyone in chat. Love y'all.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Mike.
Randy, I'm going to let you say whatever you want to say, man, before we end it tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be some changes going upon this world, and even if it gets tough, just remember, just trust God through whatever this is that we're going through, and He'll get us through it. It's good to be back. God bless Mike and his family. God bless each and every one of you. We'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining us on the Abnormal Investigation channel. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we hope you're safe tonight. And we love you all. And you're all a part of this channel, and we appreciate you coming here and support. Good night.
I almost couldn't say it better, guys. I want to thank everybody for your support, your continued support. If y'all did not support these videos and video drops we do daily, then we wouldn't be able to do the boots on the ground, because everything matters. It all supports the channel, the algorithm, and it allows us to be able to do it. With that being said, I would like to say, Hunter, I love you more than anything in the world. You're my best friend, my son. You're my world, my life. And I miss you each and every day of every second. And I will never stop trying to bring you home. You have my word on that. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow night, 8:45, Boots on the Ground. Remember, keep your head on a swivel. Don't be something's dinner. God bless, and good night.